Have you ever wondered what it's like to start a YouTube channel from scratch? Well, stick around because today I'm pulling back the curtain on my very first week as a YouTuber, and I'm going to talk about my real-time analytics, my views, subscribers, and some surprising lessons that I learned along the way. One of the things that I really wanted to do when I started this channel was I wanted to be transparent about my analytics and about all of my views and stuff like that for a couple of reasons. Not only for the folks that know me and who care about my journey, but also for folks who are maybe thinking about getting into this and thinking about starting a YouTube channel on your own. See, here's the thing. When you look at YouTube, it's really easy to find people with millions of views and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they're telling you about their experiences. But for me, I'd rather hear from somebody who's new to find out what their first week is like or what their first month was like, because that's going to give me a better idea of how I'm comparing. So here's what I want to do. I want to go through the videos that I put out during the first week. I want to talk about the views and things like that so that you can see what you can maybe expect if you're starting a channel. And then I want to go through and talk about overall for the channel, what were my views, subscribers, all of that good stuff so that you can get a better idea of what my journey has looked like so far. All right, so let's take a look at the very first video that I put out a little over a week ago on July the 3rd. This was the coping with unemployment video. And so far in the last week, it has gotten 248 total views and brought in 6 subscribers. Hey everybody, if you're enjoying this video and you want to see more about my journey on YouTube, then hit that subscribe button that's down below. And hey, while you're down there, hit that thumbs up button because it really helps the channel. Have you done it? Are you sure? All right, let's get back to the video. The other thing that I did on that very first day was I used a tool called Opus Clip that will look at your long video. I think my first video was like 13 minutes long or whatever. It will go through that entire video and it will pull out selected clips from it that you can then post as shorts. And so I did that for that first day, and I pulled out 4 different shorts and I posted them in varying results. The whole thing about this channel and any channel on YouTube is if you can't provide a video to somebody that they actually want to see, then it doesn't, all the other stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good your lighting looks or your camera or how good your microphone sounds or any of those things. If your content isn't good, then you're going to lose people and nobody's going to end up watching because YouTube's going to stop pushing it out to different people. So that's what I really learned from that first long video, and then the 4 shorts that went along with it was you got to be quicker, you've got to have a strong hook in the beginning, and you've got to keep people's interest throughout the entire video. And it's really easy to say that stuff. It's much harder to actually do it. So my second video came out on the 8th of July, so about 3 days ago. And so far, this one has a little over 1,300 views, and it's brought in 3 additional subscribers. And so here's where I ended up after my first week on YouTube. Almost 2,900 views, 82 watch hours, and 17 subscribers. And surprisingly, not all of those 17 are friends and family, so there are some other people mixed in there as well. I didn't know what to expect when I started this channel. I had no idea how many views I would get, how many subscribers, any of that stuff. And so after a week, I am very excited about the growth of this channel so far. I'm very excited about the trends and the things that I'm seeing. There are still things that I need to learn. There are still things that I need to get better at. The most important lessons that I learned during this week, number one, you can't get frustrated. And I know that that's easy to say, but you spend a lot of time building a video. You spend a lot of time going through and filming and editing and re-editing and changing things and doing all this stuff to put out something that I was really happy with at the end. I got it to a point where I felt good about it, and I felt like this is something that I would watch. And so when you put that out and you have a 13-minute video or you have a 20-minute video and people end up watching 3 minutes of it, that can be really like heartbreaking. It can be almost devastating when you see it, but you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, and you have to realize that not everything is going to work, and not every video that you put out is going to be great. And so if you can take things from these and you can learn from them, my goal in every one of these videos is to get 1% better. If I can get 1% better with every single video that I put out, then I can see this thing going somewhere, and I think that I'm going to start to get more views, and maybe I'll get more subscribers and things like that. But I think even just for me personally, I'm the kind of person who always wants to improve. And so that's what I've learned from this is instead of getting frustrated about that or sad about that, it's taking ownership for that and going, okay, well, they didn't stay because I wasn't engaging enough. And so learn from that. Figure out ways to do that. Figure out ways to keep people's attention, especially in this day and age when people are so quick to just keep swiping and going on to the next thing. And so if you can learn from that and you can figure out how do I capture those people's attention and keep them for at least a chunk of the video, then I think that's all you can really do. Another thing that I was really surprised by this week is how addicting your analytics page can be. Like, I found myself constantly going into that and hitting refresh to see how many views do I have? How many views now? What about now? What about, did it go up? Is it stagnating? What's happening? Like, it's very easy to get wrapped up in all of that. For me, for my personality, that's what I was seeing and that's what I was feeling. And I constantly had that urge to jump in and see, hey, where am I at? And so one of the things that I'm going to try to learn from this is that I have to stop doing that. It's not going to change the numbers if I look at it 57 times between 9 p.m. and midnight or whatever. That's not going to change anything. So I have to just let it be what it's going to be, check it in the morning and see what it's going to be, but don't get so obsessed with checking those numbers, because if you do, it's going to drive you crazy, because then that's gonna get that frustration creeping in. If you have a bad hour, like I have these hours that pop up where it'll be really good. I'll have 50 something views last hour, and then this hour I only have 5 views, and I get really sad. But you have to just leave that and let it be what it's gonna be, because at the end of the day, none of the things that I'm doing are going to change who's seeing that video, how much it's being pushed out by YouTube, who has it popping up on their browse and things like that. And so the third thing that I learned this week that I was really surprised by is how many views you get from what YouTube calls the browse features as opposed to search. Coming into YouTube and being a new creator, in my head, I thought that most of my views would come from people searching for something. So they would search for, how do I cope with unemployment? And boom, my video would pop up. Or Costco deals for July, and my video would pop up. But the reality is that is a very, very small percentage of my total views. So as you can see right here, 91% of my total views came in from browse features. So basically, these are videos that just popped up on people's home feed or whatever. It wasn't that they searched it out, it just popped up because YouTube put it there. And the portion of my total views that actually came from search, from somebody going onto the search bar and typing something in, is less than 1%. That was very surprising to me. And I think that that just kind of shows how important a good title and a good thumbnail are to your video and to its success. Because if you don't have that, when it pops up on those people's homepage and they don't know anything about me or they don't know anything about this channel, if it doesn't grab their attention right away, they're not going to click on it, and it's going to be a lost opportunity. So that's the third thing that I learned. And so with that, 1 week is down, on to the next week.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Back again today. And, I've said from the very beginning that I want to be completely transparent on this channel. I want to talk about my numbers, good, bad, or ugly. And so I'm back today to talk about my second week being a YouTuber. So whether you're just curious about how I'm doing or whether you're maybe thinking about starting a channel for yourself, stay till the end and you'll see not only my numbers, you'll see how I'm performing in the first 2 weeks, but also my lessons learned this past week. So let's get into it. Let's start with a quick review of week 1. And as you can see, just as a reminder, I did a video on this, but in week 1, I had 2,874 total views. And during that week, I uploaded 2 regular videos and 5 shorts. So you can see down here that, how these performed during that week in, varying degrees. Obviously, this shocking July 2024 Costco prices you need to see was clearly my best video, and it's been my best video on the channel so far. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. You'll see that in the next part here when we look at week 2, how these numbers kind of carried over into that. All right, so during week 2, I uploaded 2 long form videos and I uploaded 2 different shorts. So total for the week, I got 1,434 views. I got 8 more additional subscribers. So, and you can see down here that, again, still number one this week for views was the shocking July 2024 prices. The first Costco video basically just blew up, or at least it didn't blow up in terms of YouTube. It blew up in terms of my channel, obviously. So that one is still the main reason why I got views. So, that's kind of where I'm at. All total for both weeks, I'm sitting at 4,308 views for those 2 weeks and 25 subscribers. So the good news is, if there is good news, no, the good news is that there were views and people actually watched some of my content and hopefully enjoyed some of my content, or at least, enjoyed it enough to click the subscribe button. And I got, some likes along the way and things like that. So all of that stuff is really good. The bad news is, there were lessons learned. Okay, let's put it that way. There were definitely some things that I learned in this second week that just kind of further reiterated what I already knew, which is, clearly I don't fully understand the YouTube algorithm, but we'll talk about that here in a second. In fact, why don't we just get into that right now? And we'll start with this one. One video doing well does not impact future videos. See, I kind of naively thought that they would. So the first video that I uploaded onto the channel was the unemployment video, the kind of why am I here? Why am I doing this video? That one got 251 views that you can see on here. Okay, so then I upload the second video, which is a Costco kind of like, whatever, let's go to Costco and let's see what deals they have at the Costco place, thinking, hey, that's a good idea for a video. I watch those videos on YouTube, so maybe other people would watch this one. And guess what? People did. They showed up. I got 1,600 views on that video, and I was like, yay. I'm thinking, hey, I have got this YouTube thing just totally figured out. I am killing it. I'm crushing it. I got 1,600 views on my second video. It's all just going to be downhill. The views just going to keep coming. Yeah, that's not how it worked. That's not what happened at all, because the next video that I put up was actually the week 1 of this series, talking about my journey on YouTube. And yeah, so far it's gotten 20 views. 20. The one before it had 1,600. This one had 20. So, that was a little disappointing. And then the very next day, I think it was the next day, I uploaded another video because it was right during Amazon Prime Days. And so I uploaded a video for Amazon Prime Days talking about, items that were on sale for content creators, for particularly new content creators. And yeah, that video had 15 people watch it. And again, being transparent, I'm one of those people. I watched it after I uploaded it. My wife watched it after I uploaded it. So that's 2 of the 15. So not what I was expecting or hoping for, obviously, but I mean, things happen. And what are you going to do? There's really not a lot you can do other than just kind of go, okay, well, let's see what we can learn from that. And so, yeah, that's really what I learned from that, is that one video blowing up had very little, if any, impact on anything that came after it, because clearly it didn't, because the numbers don't bear that out at all. All right, so the second thing that I learned during week 2 of my YouTube journey is that shorts are a great way to get quick views, but they die off really quickly. So as you can see here, this is the graph of how my shorts have performed over time. And you can see it's like a mountain range over here. So on the day that I upload a short, most of the time it has a nice little peak and people watch it, and then it immediately just drops back down to 0. Now, it might be a little bit more helpful to actually see it in this form. This is the best short that I've had so far, the best performing short that I've had so far, that only got 923 views. And you can see how it kind of jumps up really quick in the beginning, and then it has kind of a lull, and then it jumps up again, and then it has a lull, and then that lull just never ends, and it just stays basically flatlined through the end. And all of my short content looks, in varying degrees, the graphs look exactly like this. So they all kind of go up and they look really good, and then they just flatline and everything dies. Now, I'm not an expert, certainly. I mean, clearly, basically, at this point, we all kind of know this, but I'm stating the obvious for my own purposes. I'm not an expert at shorts, though, even more so, because even when I got into this channel, my goal was not to make a bunch of shorts and things like that. I don't watch shorts. Like, that's not my gig. I don't look at TikTok. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm a YouTube guy, and I've always been a long form video YouTube guy. That's what I enjoyed watching. That's what I watch at night when I'm sitting on the couch, is long form YouTube videos. So I wasn't really planning to really even get into shorts and do shorts. The whole reason why I did it was to try to drive traffic to my long form videos. Almost with the exception of one short that I made was just something that I thought was funny. And apparently I was the only person in America, or really, if we're being honest, I was the only person in the world that thought that it was funny, because it got almost no views whatsoever. But whatever. What was I saying? I got completely off track. Oh yeah. So, but every other video except for that one was designed just to try to drive people and push them to my long form content. It had a little button on there and you can click on it and you can watch the video. And I mean, that worked a little bit. A couple of people clicked that button and watched the full videos, but it didn't really drive as much traffic as I was hoping that it would drive. Again, it's a brand new channel. I don't know what I expected after 2 weeks of doing this. Probably whatever I had in my head that I did expect was silly and, outlandish, I guess, or maybe a better word for it is just optimistic. I was optimistic that I was going to get a ton of people just flying in and, oh, hey, we got to click on this guy. We got to see what he's talking about. Oh, he's funny. I don't know. I don't know what people would think, but I thought that I would get, I don't know, more views and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, the bottom line is, clearly the fact that I'm not a shorts guy has kind of showed up here in that I'm not getting it yet. And it's a long journey, and I'm going to continue to put out shorts, and I'm going to continue to try to put out shorts to drive traffic to long form content. I'm sure that I'll continue to do that. And if I have other things that pop into my head that I think are funny, I'll probably throw those up too, because why not at this point? But, my goal in this whole channel, whether it's shorts, long form videos, whatever, is I want to make good content that people want to see, but I also want to make content that I want to make, that I think is valuable, and I think, or maybe I think it's funny or whatever. And so I'm sure that's going to have varying degrees of success going forward. There are going to be some that do fine, and there are going to be some that absolutely flop. And maybe, just maybe, this is optimistic Kevin talking again, but maybe something will actually click. And maybe one of these shorts will go nuts, and I won't have a complete flat line like I do on all the ones that I have so far. So that was second lesson. Now let's talk about the third lesson. The third thing that I learned during this week is that video analytics don't really always seem to make sense, or at least they don't make sense to me. And let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So everything that I've been taught, and I say taught, everything that I've learned from watching, like, I don't even know, hundreds of hours of YouTube videos from people who are experts telling me what I need to do to make my channel better and how to start a YouTube channel, basically, is that it all depends on your click-through rate and your retention. Like, those are the two things that are really, really important when it comes to YouTube videos. So click-through rate obviously is how many people see your video, show up on their page, and decide to actually click it. Fair enough. Easy enough. That makes sense to me. And I do still think that these are right. I do still think that these are the two most important things, that and retention. So retention, by the way, is how long people actually watch the video. If you didn't already know, you probably already know that. But just in case, it's how long people actually watch the video and how much of the duration of your video do they watch. So I do still believe that those two things probably are the two things that matter the most. And clearly, because people that are a lot smarter about YouTube than I am have said that over and over and over again. And yet the numbers don't actually bear that out for me yet. And maybe it's because I'm a new channel. It's probably what it is. And maybe it's because the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, doesn't know anything about me. And so it's guessing and it's trying to figure out a match and whatever. But let me show you a really good example. All right, so here's my best video, the Costco video. It's gotten 1,583 views so far total in its lifespan, okay? For this particular video, when you look at the click-through rate, it had 31,600 impressions. In other words, 31,600 different people had this show up on their page where they could either choose to click on it and watch it or not. And out of those 31,600, it had a 4.2% click-through rate, and that led to 1.3 thousand views, so 1,300 views, basically. That seems really, really good. I don't know how it got to 31,000 people, but for whatever reason, it got to 31,000 people. That's who YouTube sent it out to, okay? And to go along with that, for retention, now this was an almost 20-minute video. It was 19 minutes and 58 seconds. The average view duration was 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay, meaning only 17.8% of it was actually watched on average. And you can see from the graph here how it just kind of immediately drops and then it just continues to kind of drop and people trickle off and they stop watching, whatever. So not good retention by any stretch of the imagination, which is probably why it stopped being shown and why it's eventually died, even after getting those 1,500 and whatever views. That's why it stopped, because it wasn't getting anything and it wasn't getting that kind of level of retention that it should have gotten. But I guess my point is how did it get to those 30 whatever thousand people in the first place? Because it's not like the retention was really good and then it just sucked. It was always this. Okay. Now compare with that. Let's keep those numbers in mind. Let's go to my next video. The one that I did immediately after this. So the very next video that I posted was the week 1 of this. And so that video got a total of 22 views. Very different from the numbers that we just saw a second ago, but whatever. I've already covered that. More importantly, and this is the part that makes like almost no sense to me. The last one was shown to 31,000 people in their feed. This one was shown to 83 people total, and 13.3% of them decided to click on it. That was my click-through rate. So 11 out of those 83 people. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but 13.3% is better than 4% whatever in the last video, right? And if you go to retention, it's kind of the same story here. So this was an 8-minute long video, 8 minutes, 38 seconds. My average view duration was 5.5 minutes, and it's 65% average view duration. So again, that's better than the 17% on the last video. So if these numbers are better, if click-through rate is better, and if average view duration is better, then why? And I understand that partially that goes along with the low numbers. Like it's easier to get good retention and good click-through rate when it's not shown to that many people. But I guess my question is why? Why was that one video shown to 30-something thousand people and then the very next video was only shown to 80 people? Like, I don't get that. And that's my learning, and that's me not really fully understanding and I don't think any of us do really fully understand the YouTube algorithm other than the person who built it or the team of people who built it. I'm sure they could probably tell you all about exactly what it's doing. But all of us who are just kind of out here, we don't have that luxury, and we don't know all the ins and outs of it, of exactly what it's doing every minute of the day and why it's doing what it's doing, why it gives this video over here from the exact same creator. This video gets 30,000 something views and this one gets 80 views. I don't know. I can't figure it out. It's not my job to know. My job is to, my job, it's not really my job, but it's my task, I guess, is the way I'll say it, is for me to just continue to put out videos, to try to put out the best content that I possibly can and hope for the best. It's one of the things that can be very frustrating about YouTube or at least as a new content creator, because you literally have no idea. I have no idea even this video that I'm making for you right now, I'm going to spend, I don't even know how many hours tomorrow editing this video and creating B-roll for the video so that hopefully it keeps some kind of retention and people will, I don't know, laugh at some point or at least be semi-entertained by what I'm doing. So I'll spend countless hours doing all of that, and I will upload this video, and I will do it with fingers crossed and be like, oh, please, please, YouTube algorithm police people or whatever, please choose to send this out to a bunch of people. And I have no idea. This could be the next one that hits 1,600 views or more for all I know, or it can be the next one that gets 25 views, or it can be even less than that. I don't know. I might get 2 views between me and my wife. And sometimes she watches them twice, so that might be 3 views. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to turn out to be. And that's both the frustrating thing. And also it's I don't know, this is optimistic Kevin putting the optimistic Kevin hat on again. That's one of the things that's kind of exciting about YouTube is you don't know. And, all those people that do end up getting that viral video, that person that all of a sudden, and you see these stories all the time, right? You see these folks who, on their 3rd video, they got 1.7 million views and they got 10,000 subscribers, and all of a sudden they were monetized and they were able to start putting ads, and then they take that out and they keep showing you, and in my first year on YouTube I made blah 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 $600,000. That stuff happens and it's exciting for them, and you don't know if you're going to be the next one that happens to, or if you're going to be the other side of it. And the ones that I see these videos on YouTube all the time too, people who have literally been on YouTube for years and they've been creating content for years and they still haven't hit the 1,000 subscribers that you need to monetize, or the 4,000 watch hours. They still haven't hit those metrics. And you don't know, like I could be in either one of those 2 camps, and that's the exciting part and also the frustrating part all at the same time. I think I've already said that, but I'm going to say it that last time. Anyway, the point of all of this is I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to share metrics with all of you, whether you're watching or not. I'm going to do it because I said I was. And because I said in the beginning that I was going to be transparent and that I was going to talk about this journey towards monetization of this channel and show you where I'm at and show you how it's going. And so that if you are one of those people who's sitting there kind of thinking like I was, because before I started this channel, I watched countless videos of people trying to figure out, okay, well, what do I do and how do I do it and whatever. And the whole time, all I was really doing was delaying my own start. All I was really doing was trying to, I was telling myself, oh, I don't know enough yet. So I gotta learn a little bit more before I actually get started. And the reality is, it wasn't that. It wasn't that I didn't know enough to start a YouTube channel. Well, I had a YouTube channel many, many years ago. And so I knew how to do a YouTube channel. I knew how to create video. I knew how to edit video. I knew those things, not maybe the best in the world at doing any one of those things, or definitely not the best in the world at doing any one of those things, but I knew enough to certainly get started. So it wasn't my lack of knowledge that was keeping me from getting started. It was, I don't know, fear, maybe. It was fear of the unknown and not knowing what was going to actually happen, and would anybody actually watch anything that I had to say. That played a big role in it. And if you're one of those people right now who's sitting there watching this video and you've been contemplating, is there part of that for you? Probably, where you're going, man, I don't know if I know enough. I don't know if I'm an expert in any one thing enough to talk about it on camera or whatever. And guess what? I'm not either. Like, am I an expert in going to Costco and finding deals? No, there's better people on YouTube that do that. There's people that have more knowledge in that than I do. But here's the good news. I probably have more knowledge on that than the average person, which means that to most people watching the channel, I can at least provide some kind of a service there. Plus, I'm actually taking the time to do these things and go and find these deals or whatever. If that's the video that we're talking about, is a Costco video, which I've made a couple of them, and I've got another one that I still need to edit and get out. So there's going to be another one coming of that. And there's probably going to be more of that because it's something that I enjoy doing, and it's something that I think can provide at least some level of value to people. Is they don't have to go and like go up and down every single freaking aisle of their Costco store to try to find the best deals. Instead, I can kind of guide them, hopefully in some way, by doing that. But that's how all of this works. It's, what can I provide some kind of a value for, and, hopefully give someone a reason to watch this and give someone a reason to hit the like button. If you haven't already, maybe hit that like button. That'd be really cool. Or, I don't know, maybe even leave a comment and show some kind of support or some kind of an engagement. Ask a question, whatever. In fact, you know what? If you're still watching this video right now, and which maybe it's just me and my wife, but if you're still watching this video right now and you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, leave me a comment. Let me know what's stopping you. Why haven't you started yet? And I'm not saying that with judgment. Please don't take it the wrong way. I'm not saying like, whoa, why haven't you started yet? You need to. I'm not saying it that way. I'm just asking, like, legitimately, because maybe you know exactly why you haven't started yet, and maybe you don't. Maybe you think you know, but subconsciously, maybe there's something else going on there. I'm not trying to be like, now I'm putting on psychological hat, Kevin, I guess. Which is weird. I don't know. Yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know what it is that's kept you from starting already. Or if you have already started, let me know if you had a delay and something that kept you from kind of jumping right in the first place. As I was going through my channel analytics this week, I thought about the very first football team I ever played on. And I was probably, 7 or 8 years old. And I got on this team, and it was maybe the second practice that we ever had. And we played this drill called Bull in a Ring. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this drill. It's one of those things that I don't know if they still do it. Probably not in Pee Wee football anymore. I would highly doubt it right now. But back in the early 80s, it seemed to be fine. And basically, the way this drill worked is one person would stand in the middle, and then they would be surrounded in a ring by all the other players on the team. And one by one, the coach would call out the name of somebody on the outer circle. And basically, their only job was to come in and try to hit the guy in the middle as hard as they possibly could, apparently. And so I remember playing that drill, and I remember being the guy in the middle. And I remember getting hit so hard. And I remember it hurting so much. And after that drill was over, I was crying. I was like, whatever. My dad, who was there, my dad went to every game that I ever played in. He went to almost every practice that I ever had in all of my years in youth sports and everything else throughout the years. He was there, and he took me aside, and I told him, I said, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play football anymore. This is terrible. This sucks. It hurts. I don't want to do this. And I remember my dad saying to me, you know what, Kevin, you can quit, and I'll take you home right now, and it's fine, and I won't be mad at you. But you just started. You just got started doing this. And yeah, today sucked, but it's going to be fun. There's going to be better days. There's going to be better drills. There's going to be games. There's going to be things that you're really going to enjoy about playing football. So if you want to stick around, then I'll keep you here. And I remember in that moment, like, I knew that that's what he wanted me to do. And all I really wanted to do was, make my dad happy. So I stayed and I played. And I was never the best football player. I was never, whatever. I didn't make a career out of it, obviously, which is why I'm sitting here talking on YouTube. But I remember that vividly in my head. It's one of those life lessons that my dad taught me that I would give anything. I lost my dad 3 years ago. I would give anything to get a life lesson from him today. But that one has always stuck with me. And I've thought about it many, many times over the years. Every time I had something hard come up that there was some inclination in me to quit, that vivid memory would come back, and I would think about that, and I would think about his words and that day. And I thought about that this week, because when I go through my numbers and I see the views or the lack of views, it's hard. YouTube is hard. YouTube is not what I thought it was going to be. When I started it, I had a YouTube channel back in 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. I had a YouTube channel, and it seems like it was much easier back then. I built that channel up fairly quickly to, a few thousand people or whatever, a few thousand subscribers. I had, hundreds of thousands of views and whatever. And it seemed to be much easier than it is today. And maybe I'm just remembering it differently, but that's what I remember. And so, yeah, it's really hard when you look and you put everything that you can into a video and you get, 11 views, or you get 8 views, or you get 20 views. And it's just, man, it's kind of, it hits you, and it makes you think about quitting. And that's what I thought about this week. I told you guys from the very beginning I was going to be transparent with this stuff. I'm transparent about this. I thought about quitting this week. I thought about, why am I doing this, and maybe I should stop. But I thought about that day, and I didn't. Anyway, let's jump into the numbers. I want to share with you what I did this past week, where I'm at in the channel. We're going to make this a relatively quick video, and then we're all going to move on with our lives. So in week 3 of my YouTube journey, I had a total of 882 views, which was 9.8 hours of watch time, and I added 4 additional subscribers. And that, on the surface, doesn't really seem that bad. I mean, 882 viewers, that's pretty good to me. That seems like a lot, right? The problem, though, is when you start to really kind of dive into the numbers. So I uploaded 2 videos this week. I did a Costco video on Saturday, and then I did this version, the week 2 version of this video, on Thursday. And so as we look at those specific videos, those 2 videos combined for 45 total views. And they had 359 impressions, had a 7.2% click-through rate, and the average view duration was 6 minutes and 12 seconds. The shorts is really where I got my views. So the shorts, I had 837 views, 2.3 thousand impressions, 13 likes, 3 additional subscribers, all that stuff. So the bulk of everything that I got, when we look at all of it, came from the shorts. They're not coming from my long form video. They're not coming from that at all. In fact, the 2 videos that I did have, if you look at them individually here, you can see that the insane Costco deals that I did on that Saturday got 23 views during the week. And then the starting YouTube at over 40 week 2 thing got 15. So those are my only views that I got. And then, a few on some older videos or whatever. So that's where I'm at for the week. Now, overall, if we take it back and we look at everything on the channel, so far, total views for the channel is 5,600 views, 141 watch time hours, and 29 total subscribers, which is where I'm sitting at today. So that's kind of an update on where I'm at on my views and where I'm at on subscribers and all that other fun stuff that goes along with channel analytics. So I really wanted to come up with a list of legitimate lessons that I learned this week. And honestly, I don't really have anything like I did in weeks past. I didn't learn anything new. The one thing I learned this week that I already kind of knew was YouTube is hard, and getting views is hard, and standing out in a crowd of millions and millions of people is hard. And I should have known that in the beginning. I did know that inherently in my head in the beginning. But for whatever reason, I didn't think it would be this hard. And I didn't think that putting up a video and getting 15 views on it would feel the way that it feels. And so, yeah, that's really the only lesson that I learned that I can share with you for this week. It's not anything groundbreaking. So hopefully you weren't coming here looking for a groundbreaking tip, other than to say that YouTube will make you want to quit. When you first get started, YouTube will make you want to stop. And it's probably not for everybody. Probably not everybody goes through that. In fact, I know for a fact not everybody goes through that, because you see those folks who do blow up in the first month or whatever. I am quickly closing in as I record this video on my first month on YouTube. And am I where I thought I would be? No. And don't take that the wrong way. I'm very thankful for what I have and the 5,600 views that I've had so far and the 29 subscribers that I do have on the channel. I'm very thankful for every single one of you as you're watching this video. But yeah, I thought it would be more. I thought that it would be easier to get those views. And it's probably a combination of things. It's probably a combination between titles and thumbnails and my video ideas and all of those things coming together to keep me down and keep me with a low number of views. And so I got to kind of reevaluate maybe how I'm doing videos. When I did that first Costco video and it kind of, again, blew up for my channel and I got, I don't even remember at this point, 1,700 views, whatever it was, which was crazy compared to all my other videos. When I first did that one, my thought was, okay, it's Costco. That's what I have to do because that's where all the views are. Well, I've now proven with 2 additional Costco videos after that, that that's not the case. It's not Costco. For whatever reason, that video went larger than the other videos. I can't explain why, but it did. And it was a fluke. Basically, it had nothing to do with me doing a Costco video. So I got to kind of reevaluate what I'm making videos about. I want to still continue to do, for right now, I want to do one video of a topic that I want to talk about, and then one video like this where I'm kind of updating all of you on where I'm at with the views and stuff like that. I want to keep doing that, but I need to really think about what those other videos are going to be. And I probably need to switch that up a little bit and do something different to potentially bring in more people. So we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. If you've been wondering what you should expect in terms of subscriber growth, views, and engagement in a new YouTube channel, well, stick around because today I'm going to share the cold, hard truth about my first 6 weeks on YouTube. And believe me, it's not what I expected. Whether you're starting a new channel from scratch or like me, you're diving back into the world of YouTube after a long break, this is the video for you. I'm going to break down my analytics for you. I'm going to share how they compare to my channel that I had back in 2015. And I'm going to reveal some surprising insights that might just make all the difference for your channel. Trust me, if you're over 40 and you're just starting or maybe restarting on YouTube, the numbers I'm about to show you might shock you. And later on in the video, I've got an exciting channel announcement that you won't want to miss. So with that, let's jump right in and let's look at my first 6 weeks analytics. All right, so all total in 6 weeks, I got 5,888 total views. Now, keep in mind that I did upload 12 long-form videos during the 6-week period, but I also had 10 shorts. And so that kind of had an effect on where my views were coming from and how many of these views actually count, if you will, towards like monetization and things like that are actually important and things that you're probably wanting to know about. So with that, let's look at the difference. So this is the shorts. I had the 10 shorts, 3,748 views came from those shorts. And then my actual long form is here. So that's 2,140 views. So for me, that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's what I'm counting as, you know, go forward is this 2,140 views, the 136.9 watch time hours, and the 26 subscribers. But overall, you know, you've still got the 5,900, 159 that doesn't really count, and then 41 subscribers. So that's really kind of the overall analytics for the channel. Now, I did break it down because I wanted to kind of look and see what does this look like by week. And so, you know, because for me, I'm a data guy, so it helps me to be able to see it functionally. And what you can see here, especially when you really kind of start to disallow, like this is everything. These are the total views, including the shorts. But again, I don't really consider those. So if we kind of get rid of that and hide it, it really helps to look at it on a week by week basis. And you can see that 1,800 of these video views, 1,800 of the, what did I say, 2,143 video views came from the first week. And so that's a little bit scary that, I mean, it's good, I guess, for the first week, but it's a little bit scary since then that everything is dried up. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video about why I think that is and what I think happened. And so we can kind of learn from this. But anyway, moving on. So 1,807 views in the first week. And the problem with it was the CTR, you can see the click-through rate was very, very low that first week, 4.1% click-through rate. Now, obviously, the more views you get, the lower your click rate is going to be. So you kind of expect this to be a little bit lower, but 4.1% in that first week is not great. And that's why the impressions dried up, because I wasn't really getting that. And so that's kind of what happened. So first week was there. Second week, I had 69 views. Nice. Third week, I had 36 views. Fourth week was 41 views, then 65. And then surprisingly, in week 6, it started to kind of jump back up a little bit. I had almost double the views in week 6 as I had in week 5. So I'm choosing to look at that as a positive thing. From an impression standpoint, you can kind of see how these numbers jumped around. Really disregarding that first week, you can see how they kind of have jumped around, but they are steadily trending back up, which again, I'm taking that as a positive. The click-through rate has been a little bit all over the place, and it's hard for me to really justify this or really take a lot from this because the numbers are so inconsistent, and because when you have 36 views in a week, yeah, your click-through rate is going to look pretty good because you've only got 36 views and you've only got 294 impressions that third week. So your click-through is probably going to look pretty good for that. You can kind of see and compare this to your numbers. And that's really the whole reason why I'm sharing any of this, is for you to be able to compare this to what you're seeing and benchmark yourselves. For me, benchmarking is important, and being able to know, okay, where do I stand in terms of what I should expect, because I can have expectations that are crazy through the roof, but if they're not realistic, then it doesn't mean anything. So benchmarking allows me to kind of be realistic. And with that, that's why I kind of have compared all of this, or tried to compare all of this, to my last channel. For those of you who don't know, I had a channel that I had back in 2015 that I ran for about a year and a half or so. And so I kind of wanted to look at how does this video, or how does this channel, sorry, compare to that channel? Because in that channel, it's easy for me to just focus on the outcome all total of what it did. And I'll show you that right now, actually. So that channel had a total of 650, almost 650,000 views, 72,000 watch time hours, and 3,500 subscribers. So it's easy for me to look at that and go, man, I'm sucking in this new channel. But if I really kind of break it down and start to look realistically, okay, well, what was the first 6 weeks of that channel? And so I pulled that up, and the first 6 weeks, I had 1,600 total views, and I had 25 subscribers. So I am actually ahead of where I was in that channel versus now. So that kind of makes me feel a little bit good about where I'm at and where I'm going with this as I bump the microphone. The other thing that I can really look at on this is the monetization thing, because again, when I think back on that channel, I go, well, yeah, I had 650,000 views. I had 3,500 subscribers, which, by the way, is not a lot. Obviously, that's not a ton of subscribers, but for me, that was a lot of subscribers. And obviously, in this new channel, I'd love to have that level of success and to have that number of subscribers at some point. And so I want to kind of use this to see, okay, well, how long did it take me to get there? And I actually pulled that up. It took me 21 weeks. So this is my first 21 weeks of that channel, and I had a little over 100,000 views. I had 14,000 watch time hours, and that I had finally hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. So 21 weeks, about 5 months. If I can get to those, 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch time hours on this channel in 5 months, I would be ecstatic. And some of you may be looking for much quicker growth than that. I mean, obviously, best case scenario, it would be much quicker, but if I can get there in that amount of time, I would be happy with it. So with that, let's look at kind of the differences, though, that I probably should say about this channel, because a lot of my growth from this old channel really happened for, in my opinion, 2 reasons. First, I had a very specific niche, and it was a relatively small niche, but it allowed me to grow because there wasn't a lot of competition in that niche at the time. And the other thing that really helped me grow was most of these videos. You got to keep in mind this was back in 2015. Things were very different back then. There wasn't such a thing as shorts. You didn't have to declare sponsored videos and things like that. Most of my videos were sponsored, at least after the first, I don't know, couple of months or so. I started to get more views. I started to have more subscribers, and I started to get more sponsorships. So I had companies reaching out to me saying, "Hey, review this product, review that product," and they would send me this stuff for free. And so I had a lot of free products at my disposal, and I was able to do giveaways with those products, and that obviously helped with subscribers, and it helped with views, and it boosted all of those numbers. So looking at it in terms of my new channel and what I'm doing now, maybe that happens at some point and I'll have that availability to do giveaways or whatever. But if not, it may slow down the growth a little bit. So definitely keep that in mind too, depending on what you're talking about, what your channel is about. It's going to have an impact there, because the more of that stuff you can do, I mean, everybody loves free stuff, and if you can give somebody something for free, they're more than willing to click that subscribe button, or watch your video all the way through to the end, or whatever, or at least skip around and get to the points that they need to get to. Hey, how do I enter this giveaway? So it is helpful for that. But anyway, so that's kind of what I learned here and what I got from looking at my old channel versus my new channel. So with that, I really wanted to kind of figure out, okay, well, what have I learned? What am I going to take from all of this in 6 weeks? Because it's one thing to look at, your numbers from a 6-week period and go, okay, well, that's great. But it's another thing to actually learn something from that and take something from that you can move forward with. So a couple of things that I've learned, a couple of lessons that I want to share with you. Number one, I am not doing shorts anymore. I've decided to stop the shorts journey, at least for now, for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, and I've said this before on the channel, I don't enjoy shorts. I don't really watch shorts. It's not my gig. I'm not a shorts person. So I think that reflected, I'm not really good at doing them. I don't know viral stuff and all of that garbage that goes along with it. That's not my deal. So I'm not going to do shorts. The other thing that I really think it can be a hindrance to your channel is because if you gain subscribers from shorts, and in my case, I only gained seven subscribers from shorts, so I don't think it's really having a huge impact there. But if you gain subscribers from that, then they are less likely to watch your long form videos. And as you probably know, when you release a video, the first thing YouTube does, the first thing the algorithm does, is it shows it to your subscribers to see how did it perform there. And if it performs well with your subscribers, then the algorithm is more likely to put it out and show it to other people. If it sucks, though, with your subscribers, if they see that video and they don't click on it, or they do click on it, but they don't watch it, they watch it for like 12 seconds and click off of it, it sends a very strong message to YouTube that this is probably not a good video. And the chances of you getting more impressions and getting more views will dramatically go down. So I want to be mindful of that, and I want to be careful of that when it comes to shorts, because if you're producing a lot of shorts and you're getting a lot of views and it looks great on your analytics, it looks awesome. Hey, I got 3,000 views, whatever. But it doesn't mean anything, and it's not really helping you in the long run. The same thing can apply with the niche thing, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes, because I think if you're jumping around like I have been, that's also going to hurt you. But again, we'll come back to that. The next thing that I want to talk about, and the next thing that I really learned from this is, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, when I look at my numbers by week, I really think I have to kind of throw out the first two videos, because what I believe was happening, and somebody please in the comments below, if you know this to be incorrect, correct me. I am more than willing to learn from that. And if you know something completely different, then tell me that. But what I think happened is, in the beginning, YouTube knows absolutely nothing about me, right? They know nothing about this new channel. They know nothing about what I'm trying to produce. And so they gave me a ton of impressions, because they were trying to figure out, okay, where does this fit in? Where does it match up? And so my first video was an unemployment video. It was basically my why am I here thing. I lost my job, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing a YouTube channel.
That's kind of what the first video was. The second one was a Costco video. I do not believe, and it was basically going to Costco and shopping and doing all that fun stuff. I don't believe either one of those did well because of the niche. I don't think it did well because of unemployment niche or because of the Costco niche, specifically that one, because that one I had like 1,600 views on. I don't think that it was because of Costco. And I can say that confidently because since then, I've made other Costco videos and they did terribly. So I don't think it was that. I think it was the fact that it was a new channel, and it was the fact that the algorithm was kind of testing with me. And maybe they do that with all channels. I don't know. I can't speak to that, but it does seem to be the case that that's what happened with me. And so that's why I have to throw those two kind of out the table. Out the table? I don't think that's a saying, but that's what we're going to say. I have to throw them off the table? I don't know, whatever. But you understand what I'm trying to say. I have to get rid of them because as a data point, I don't think that they're very accurate. The next thing that I really learned in this 6-week period, and this one definitely surprised me. Let me give you a backstory before I tell you the thing. So I am a very and my wife will tell you the same thing about me. I am the type of person that when I get something in my head, I want it right now. I'm an immediate gratification kind of a guy, okay? And it doesn't matter what it is. That's just how I'm built. It's not always a good thing, by the way, but that's who I am as a person, okay? And so for me, when a video goes up, when I post a video and it does well in the first, I don't know, day or whatever, then I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. And conversely, if I put a video up, which most of mine have been, and the first day is really slow, well, then that doesn't go well with me. And I immediately think this was a failure. And I think that the video was a failure. But what I've learned is that's not always the case. Sometimes that's the case. I have some videos out there that I put out, and no matter how much time has gone by, the view counts have not really gone up. But there have been a few where that's not the case. So let me show you this one here. This is the week 3 version of this video, basically. It's where I was sharing my analytics from 3 weeks into YouTube. Now, when I first started this video, now, again, keep in mind, we're talking 108 views here. But for me, that makes it my third best long form video is 103 views, which some of you may be going, wow, that's terrible. But whatever, it is what it is. My point, though, is when it first started, so in the first 5 hours, I had 6 views. All right, that's all cool. But then as we kind of go forward, 4 days in, I only had 12 views on this video. And I immediately thought, well, this is a failure. Why am I doing this? But over time, you can see how this graph kind of starts to change, and a little bit goes up and a little bit goes up. So 8 days in, we're at 22 views. Still not great. But then it starts to spike. And what is this? This is 9 days in, so almost 10 days in, it really starts to pick up. And you can see the graph changing. You can see more views. You can see it coming in. Same thing with reach. You can see here, like 4 days in, the reason why I had some little views, I only had 30 impressions on this video. So clearly my views weren't going to be that great. But then same thing at 8 days, I had 238 views, or 238 impressions. So not a ton. But as it keeps going up, you can see how those numbers get up here. 1,422 impressions as of right now. And this is now 20 days in to this video. So my hope obviously is that it's going to keep going and I'll keep getting views from that. But I think more importantly, the lesson for me to learn from this is not to panic when a video comes out and it's not great in the first day or even in the first couple of days. My immediate thought is I need to change something. I got to change the title. I have to change the thumbnail. I have to, change the description. All of those things kind of run through my head because I'm worst case scenario guy. And I think that I need to do something to get in front of this or whatever. But sometimes I don't think you need to do that. Sometimes you just have to kind of let it breathe and let it have a little bit of time
And then if it still sucks, then start making those changes. I've got other videos where this one I'm not going to mess with because of the way that it's growing. I've got other videos that are older than this that don't look like this, and they are flatlined, and they have been for a long time. That's where I want to do things like changing a title, changing a description, changing a thumbnail, maybe trying to link to that at the end of a video or something like that. That's where I'm going to start to do some of those things to try to push that content. Whereas I'm not going to mess with it on a video like this that is still actively growing. All right, my next lesson that I've learned is you have to find a niche. And it's taken me 6 weeks. I've gone through a lot of different types of videos in this 6 weeks. One of the things that delayed me, and I've talked about this in past videos, but one of the things that delayed me from starting my YouTube journey this time was I didn't know what my niche was going to be. And finally, I just kind of got to the point where I said, you know what, whatever, I'm just going to start. And I'm just going to press record and I'm going to see what happens. And I'm going to make, I had like in my head at the time, I think I had 5 or 6 video ideas that I wanted to try. And I didn't know which one was going to latch on or whatever. But as time has gone on, it's become very clear to me that one of the reasons why I'm not getting the impressions that I'd like to get, one of the reasons why I'm not getting the views that I'd like to get, is because the YouTube algorithm doesn't really know what to do with my videos at this point. It still doesn't know hardly anything about me because I've bounced around so much. I had an unemployment video, followed by a Costco video, followed by a video about YouTube growth and, talking to people over 40 years old, starting a new YouTube channel. And then I went back to Costco, and then I had fantasy football video in there. And so jumping around like this, I think is confusing, not only to the algorithm, it's confusing to subscribers. And so when a subscriber comes in and they subscribe to the channel because of the Costco video, and then my other videos aren't about that, well, they're less likely to watch them. And like I said earlier, that kills your views because now your subscribers aren't watching them. YouTube is less likely to push this out. So I think I have to pick a niche. I have to pick a horse basically and figure out this is what I'm going to ride until the wheels fall off. That's a terrible mixed metaphor, but that's kind of where, my head was. So, and again, hopefully you understand what I'm saying by this. So I've decided at this point, when I look at my videos and I look at the level of engagement that I've gotten, there has been one standout winner. When I've talked about this, when I have talked to creators, new creators, or people who are contemplating starting as a creator, particularly over 40, because that's the niche that I'm in. I don't think that I can speak accurately to, an 18-year-old person in school thinking about starting a YouTube channel. That's not going to be successful, I don't think, for me. So when I focus on that group of people and I focus on that as my viewer, then that's when my engagement has gone up the most. I've gotten the most likes. I've gotten the most comments. Even here, not necessarily views because you got to take out the other stuff. But, when you look at this over 43 weeks in video where I had 108 views so far, that one, I'm getting a ton of comments on it and a ton of likes on it. I think that's where I want to go. And so that's kind of what my announcement is for today is moving forward. That's going to be my niche. That's what I'm going to focus on. And that's what I'm going to make videos towards. And so what does that look like? Well, it looks like this to a certain degree. There's transparency that I think is important because earlier I mentioned the benchmarking aspect of this. I find to be useful. Hopefully you find to be useful because you can see where you are compared to another new channel in your space. But aside from just that, aside from just the transparency aspect and sharing details, I want to talk about things that I'm using. Like, how do I make a thumbnail? What am I using to do that? That's a video that's going to be coming up on the channel. What do you do when a video fails? That's going to be a video that comes up later on in the channel. So what am I using? What tools am I using? I already did a microphone review on this particular microphone that's done Pretty well. I mean, for me, looking at low numbers and things, it's one of my higher ranked videos on the channel, so I think that's good. So it's going to be things like that. It's going to be different tools that I've picked up and I've used, and really, it's sharing, how I'm growing, what I'm learning, and sharing that with all of you. So hopefully that's okay. If that's not what you're into and that's not what, then that's cool. I completely understand. But for me, I think it's important that I pick that niche, and I think it's important that that's what I move forward with. The other thing with it is I like talking about that stuff. Like, that's things that I have done a ton of research on. I do have the experience of having that channel in the past that had a modest amount of success. And I enjoy talking about YouTube. I enjoy everything that goes into video production is fun for me. And maybe not the editing as much. That's not my favorite part, but that's why I'm doing more videos like this, where hopefully I'm editing less and less over time, and I can get to the point where I don't need to edit hardly at all. That's the goal. But I do enjoy talking about that stuff. There are other things that, like, when I really started thinking about Costco, for example, when I started that one and that one went big, or again, big for me, 1,600 views, that second video that I had. I'll be honest, my first thought was, oh crap, now I have to make Costco videos. And it's just, I don't know how long I could have done that, to be perfectly honest about it. It would have been great in the beginning, I guess, and especially if I was getting views, that would have probably kind of propelled me forward a little bit. But I believe I could burn out very, very quickly talking about that, much like I did in my other channel back in 2015. That's the problem with it. Is, yeah, I was getting views, yeah, I had subscribers, all this stuff. I was getting free products. It was all cool. I wasn't really passionate about it. I didn't enjoy. I did it first, but very quickly I didn't enjoy making those videos, and that's why it eventually died. Because then eventually what happens is, as you lose that passion and as you lose that energy towards making those videos, then your 2 videos a week goes to 1 video a week, and then it's 1 video every other week, and then the gaps just get bigger. And when I quit that channel, or I didn't actually even necessarily quit, I just stopped posting. And 1 week led to 3 weeks, led to a month and 2 months and whatever. And I was enjoying not doing it more than I was enjoying doing it. And I never went back to it. And so I want to avoid that by not picking a niche that maybe would get me views. Maybe if I just stuck to Costco over and over and over and over and over again, then maybe that would pick up. But I don't want to take that risk, and I don't want to do that because I know I'm not going to, like, that's not going to sustain anything for me. So that's me personally. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this, what you think about me picking this, what you think about my numbers, how they compare to your numbers. I would love to hear all of that. And obviously, if you're still here and you've watched this far in the video, please do me a favor and press that like button, because as you probably know, that goes a long way for the YouTube algorithm. And hey, maybe if you are interested, there's probably going to be a button that pops up right here for subscribe. Hit that and you can subscribe for the channel. And if you want to see more videos like this, maybe you want to check out an earlier video about some of the struggles that I was going through in the first couple of weeks and how I really thought about quitting on YouTube, then click this video right here. I would really appreciate that. And until then, I will see you next time.